What about muscle loss? Talk to us about what we're seeing in the headlines. Yeah, tell me about it.
Yeah, and one of the things I did with my book, I don't think it'll bankrupt me. I think it was intentional. But I put a QR code in there. A lot of times that's like popular to be like, get your bonuses and do that. We give you access in a HIPAA compliant portal to coaches. So I even hope that when this book reaches the libraries and somebody gets it at a library, they can grab the QR code and they can come in and talk to someone. So that's how much I have leaned into it. Is essential that we have these conversations. So muscle loss, I think, is first of all really interesting. We are a society that is has muscle loss like 100%, like not 100% of people, but like there is so much muscle loss because people are eating for weight loss. So they're sitting there and being like I'm going to reduce the amount that I'm taking in. I'm going to do a ton of cardio. I'm going to do all these other things. We're aging. When you're aging, oftentimes, we see a reduction or a loss of muscle mass on that part. And so these medications have the potential to help you with your muscle, or they have the potential to exacerbate or create underlying muscle loss. And here's the way that happens. Number one, for any of us, if we are not optimally resourcing our body, so that's amounts of protein, and that's the types of amino acids, and that's also the digestive system being able to take protein, break it down, absorb it, and deploy it to muscles. So that also means your inflammatory response and your stress response are going to be factors in all of that. So if I'm under-resourcing it, that is going to be a factor with muscle, absolutely. The second thing is that we need to challenge our muscles. I'm using a JJ Virgin comment or term there, on that part. But it's one that I really lean into because she's like, I'm tired of everybody saying we should lift heavy. It isn't about lifting heavy. It's about challenging our muscles. There are plenty of people that throughout their day challenge their muscles with everything that they're doing. They're stocking shelves, they're lifting kids up and dogs up and putting them up and down, and they're, and doing all these other things. So we need to make sure that we're doing that safely, but that could be how we actually go about building our muscles. But the other thing we have to break up with is this idea of strength training or exercising for like 30 minutes in a day. Like, our bodies are meant to be moving. You talked about blah, blah, blah. I hate that word. But the anthropometrically, thank you. Way back in the day, we were always there. We were always doing stuff with our muscles. It was very rare that we were just sitting. And today it's the opposite on that part. Yeah. The final one is understanding that the way that a muscle builds is actually a stressor on the body. It tears it down, and then it's built on that part. So the recovery side and not being in rest and digest is going to be an issue for us being able to build muscles. So one of the things we have to do if we're on this medication, if we choose to use that and just regardless to optimize our weight health, is to actually be tracking our muscle as what we call our body, or what I call our weight composition on that part.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Two things. I would say that I didn't know much about muscle until about a year or 2 years ago, especially going into perimenopause, where it becomes such a media, I've never seen so much push for muscle strengthening all over. And I think the science is really interesting that it's growing on the area that muscle affects the brain in terms of its strength and its motility and how much, you build on that, especially as you age. But I would also say that, for people who have really busy lives and are supposed to be moving and are just trying to have like one piece of fruit a day, if they're lucky, or if they're trying to just have like 10 minutes of walking, what do you say to those folks independently of any medication options? Like, what are your kind of top tips for the folks that are just trying to essentially survive modern day life?
Yeah, so the whole structure of my program and the approach that I think worked best for us in terms of understanding the body as an operating system is to think about our bodies like a race car. And so what we need to do is pit stop about every couple of hours. So if we think about it, if we wake up in the morning, let's get in some activity. I'll comment on that in a second. And then, get in some nutrition, get in some water, check in with our body and our degree of stress. If it's too elevated, reduce it, do some breathing. Go about whatever you're going to do. And within about 3 hours, you want to come back and you want to be able to lean into this again and to really say like, okay, let me do that. And so when we're doing those pit stops, and this is, tackled in the book under movement, some of the things we need to be doing is moving our midsection. So a lot of us might be going like up and down, but we're not moving like our actual midsection. We might go side to side, but again, like not moving the midsection. Yeah. And so it's really important for us to move our midsection. So that might be one of the focuses of like one of those breaks that we take or those snacks, or whatever. And then the other part as far as muscle is, it really depends on where you are and also what is safe for your body. But yes, you can do body resistant weight. So it is better than nothing. Absolutely.
Right.
And sometimes it is very stressful and like in a great way of like air squats or, while the commercial is on the TV, if you want to watch your show, I know we're zooming through commercials these days. Or you can stand up and sit down, like you can literally and do it safely, like hold on, to the side and be able to do that. You can take the stairs. You can, when you're, you can decide, people have said to me like a weighted vest. And I was like, all right, you might decide to use a weighted vest and we might like that. It really depends. Like, I think if you're using a weighted vest, you better make sure that that structurally you have good balance and that your posture and how you're holding yourself is good, because I've had many people where they exacerbate one-sided like knee or hip issues or whatever because there was an underlying imbalance, that wasn't corrected for. But, you can have a backpack. Many of us are carrying stuff anyway. We can make sure we're carrying it more safely. That kind of thing. Like somebody said to me the other day, we were kind of bemoaning that like a lot of us were traveling and then we were at a conference and we were like moving. And they're like, oh my God, I haven't been to the gym. I was like, you don't need to go to the gym. I've been watching the bag that you've been carrying. I was like, I actually think you need to sit down and rub your feet for a few minutes, because I think your feet are, and truthfully, like open up the fascia there or, roll on things. So it is important for us to lean into, there isn't one way, one type, but also some of this like stuff to unlearn or, my book, I call it shit to unlearn. Like we've got to move away from like 30 minutes of exercise in a day. Like that just does not work for the human body. We have to do more than that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think these are all really important. It's really reframing a lot of what we've been raised and trained to think of. And the science is moving quickly and we have to keep up with some of the science.